Okay, today we're doing another grammar live stream using this book, Level 1 workbook. This is our Level 1 grammar book to go along with our grammar textbook. And today we're going to be looking at how to do grammar conjugations into the present tense. So if you're familiar with Korean grammar, or actually languages in general, one of the most important things you'll learn is how to conjugate verbs into different tenses. And in Korean, the first grammar tense we're going to look at is present tense. And then we also look at past and future as well later. But first it's just present tense. And this workbook is to go along with a textbook. The textbook has some more information in it. So this workbook assumes that you've learned and you've read the chapter in the textbook, and now it's asking you some questions to start. So let's have a look at these questions and see how much we know. Okay, multiple choice. Select the correct answer to the following multiple choice questions. A, which of the following tenses can are or yo, which is the present tense in Korean, not be used for? So what can it not be used for? 1, the present tense, I do. 2, the present progressive tense, I am doing. 3, the future tense, I will do. Or 4, the past tense, I did. So this are or your form, it's known as the present tense, but it can actually be used in all of these situations except one. And it cannot be used to talk about the past tense, but it can actually be used to talk about the present progressive, or the future tense. And we actually do kind of a similar thing in English when you say things like, I'm going to the grocery store. That's, present progressive. But it could be something that you're going to do right now. It could be something you're going to do later. It could be something that you're doing at the current moment. So it's kind of similar in Korean as well. Okay. Is this the first or second workbook? This is the first workbook, the Level 1 workbook. B, select the verb that has a final consonant. So this final consonant is known in Korean as a 받침. That's the Korean word for them. They're very important, they're used all the time, and they play a very important role in Korean grammar. So this 받침, which one of these verbs has a 받침? Is it 1, 보다, 2, 먹다, or 3, 아니다? So what is a 받침? It's a consonant on the bottom of a syllable. In which case, here the answer is 2, 먹다. So 먹다 has a 받침. It's this thing right here. This 기역 at the bottom is a final consonant, a 받침. So this is important when it comes to conjugating. Whether it has a 받침 or not determines the sort of conjugation that takes place. Okay, C. When conjugating into the simple present tense, if the final vowel sound in the verb is a or, then you attach 1, ayo, 2, oyo, or 3, 해요. So again, this assumes that you've read the textbook first, but the general rule that you learn when you're learning to conjugate verbs in Korean is that if the final vowel sound is a or o, you attach a, yo. It's a general rule that you can memorize to help you conjugate verbs. D. When conjugating into the simple present tense, if the verb ends in ha, it becomes 1, 하요, 2, 해요, or 3, 해요. So these are both 해요, but just spelled differently. And here, the correct way to conjugate verbs ending in ha is 해요 in the present tense. Okay. E. When conjugating into the simple present tense, and the final vowel sound is not a or o, and it's also not ha, so basically if one of these two situations does not apply, what do? Do you attach 1, ayo, 2, oyo, or 3, 해요? Well, in this situation, you attach oyo. So those are the basic rules, but let's look at some examples to understand it a little bit better. So when it comes to conjugating verbs, there are 3 steps you go through. First, you identify the verb stem, and the verb stem is the verb minus ta. So you take off ta from the verb and you get the verb stem. So for example, let me zoom in a little bit here. The verb stem for 먹다 is just 먹. So if we're going to apply the same logic to be 좋다, what is the verb stem? Well, you just take off 다 and you're left with 좋. 좋 is the verb stem. So what is the verb stem of 봤다? The verb stem, you just ignore the 다 and it's 팟. Yeah, good job, Keela. It's 팟. Okay. What is the verb stem of this? 맛없다. 맛없다, you ignore the 다 and you're left with 맛. Oh, that is the verb stem. Which book is this? This is the level 1 workbook. 살다, again, you remove the 타 and you're left with 살. And 괜찮다, 괜찮다 is 괜찮, like this, the verb stem. Okay, so now we know what verb stems are. The next thing you need to know how to do is find the final vowel sound. So find the final vowel sounds for the following verbs. The final vowel sound for 먹다, it's this little guy here. It's the vowel sound, the last vowel sound, which in this case is this a. What about in B, in 좋다? What is the final vowel sound in 좋다? It is o. It's a little hard to see, it's quite small, but that is the final vowel sound of 좋다. What about in C, 맛없다? What is the final vowel sound? The final vowel sound in this, again, it's this little guy. I can highlight it in all the ones. This guy, and it's this guy. I'm doing great. Thank you, Savannah. How are you doing? Okay. So the final vowel sound in this one is o. And the final vowel sound in this one is a. So you find the final vowel sound. So that's another important skill to have when it comes to conjugating verbs. Now the last thing you have to do the final conjugation is add either ayo or oyo. Remember that, let me zoom out a little bit. Remember that ayo is added to verbs ending in a or o, and oyo is adding to everything else. I'm just going to highlight this because this is sort of the important rule to remember. That's the important rule to memorize. But let's look at some examples and see. So the first one's been done for you. 먹다 becomes 먹어요. The final vowel sound of 먹다 is o, right? We saw this earlier. And because that's not a or o, remember this is a, not o, so it's not a or o, so you attach oyo. So it's 먹어요. Which book is this? This is the level 1 workbook. I'm glad they're helpful, Keela. Thank you for joining. So let's look at this next one. This verb is 좋다. 좋다. So the final vowel sound we saw earlier is this o. And we know that when the final vowel sound is a or o, you attach ayo. So we attach ayo here. So it becomes 좋아요. 좋아요 becomes 좋아요. That means it's good, it's nice. 좋아요 means it's good. What about this one? 맛있다. 맛있다 means to be delicious or tasty. So 맛있다, the final vowel sound is this E sound. And E is not a or o, so we attach 어요. 맛있어요. 맛있어요 means it's delicious. D, 많다. 많다, the final vowel sound is a. It's a, So this rule does apply. We add ayo. So, man, ayo. Good job, Katerina. Yeah. That's my name as well, Katerina. Okay, what about this one? Well, we only really have to find the final vowel sound, right? Which is E. And E is not A or O, so it's il, go, yo. By the way that you say this word is pronounced il, go, yo. That's how it's pronounced. I know a lot of these double consonants, pachims, are quite confusing to know how to pronounce them, but that is how you pronounce this one, il, go, yo. Okay, next one, 힘들다. 힘들다 means to be difficult or hard. And the final vowel sound here is this sound, sound. Oh, sorry, the verbs, yeah. So this is good. I'll write them down. This is eat. This is good. This is delicious. This is many or a lot. This is read. And this is hard. 힘들. Now this sound is not a or o, so we attach 힘들어요. 힘들어요 means it's hard or it's difficult. Okay, and this one, 괜찮다. The final vowel sound is a. It's a, so we attach ayo. 괜찮다 means to be okay or fine. It's fine. 괜찮아요. 괜찮아요 means I'm fine or I'm okay. Okay, we've got some more practice here. H, 맛없다. 맛없다 means to be gross. Excuse me, or disgusting. I say as I burp, that's pleasant. Okay, gross or disgusting, the final vowel sound is o. So we attach oyo. 맛없어요. 맛없어요. And again, this double consonant is sometimes hard to pronounce, but this is pronounced 맛 with a D sort of sound on the bottom. Then 없어요. That's how you pronounce it. 맛없어요. 맛없어요. Okay. Next we have 살다. 살다 means to live. Means to live. And the final vowel sound is a, so we attach ayo. 살아요. 살아요 means to live, or I live. J, 재미있다. 재미있다 means to be fun. 재미있다 means to be fun. And the final vowel sound is E, so we attach oyo. Remember, we're only attaching one of two things. Either we attach ayo or we attach oyo. So we only have two choices. In this case, because the final vowel sound is E, 재미있어요. It's fun. 재미있어요 means it's fun. K, 만들다. 만들다 means to make. And the final vowel sound is Thank you for the roses, Nicole. So because the final vowel sound is we attach oyo. 만들어요 means I make something. 만들어요. L, 알다. Does anyone know what the verb 알다 means in Korean? Thank you, Ashley. Does anyone know what 알다 means? Someone might know. It's not maybe one of the most common words, but it's a fairly common word. Ashley, yes, it means to know something. To know something is alda. And alda ends on a vowel sound a, so we attach ayo. Al, ayo, arayo. Arayo means I know. So if someone tells you something and you already know it, you can say arayo. I know that. I know it. Okay. What about M, this molda? Anyone know what molda means? It's a descriptive verb. It's used to talk about kind of distances. If anyone knows what molda means. Again, it's not maybe a super common word, but maybe someone knows what molda means. Far away, yes. Molda means to be far or far away. Molda. To not know something is mollayo. So it's actually very similar, but this is the verb molda. So it ends in this o sound. So we attach oyo. Moroyo. Moroyo means to be far away. It's far. Okay, and this last verb, patta. Anyone know what this verb means? Patta. Augustina, yes, it means to receive or get. Receive or get or obtain something. Patta. And the excuse me, the final vowel sound is a, so it becomes pat-a-yo. Parayo. Ooh, means parayo, to receive. I receive something, I get something. Parayo. Okay, so then we have two little notes here. This first note is just kind of reinforcing that you don't need to know all of this vocabulary yet. We're still very early in this book. We just wanted to give a lot of examples of verbs that you could conjugate, but you don't have to know all of this vocabulary. And the second point we have here is a question about how do I pronounce these words. You've heard me obviously say these words out loud in this live stream, but if you have the book and you want to know how these words are pronounced, a good little tip you can use is you can type them into Papago or Google Translate and use the text-to-speech option. And then it'll actually say that word for you out loud. And it's free to use. So if you want to know how a word sounds, I recommend using this text-to-speech option on Google Translate. Of course, it's kind of a computer voice, but it's still got the correct pronunciation. Okay. So now let's look at making some sentences. Okay. So we're given a pronoun and a verb, and we need to make a sentence. So we've given cha, which means I, and 먹다, which means to eat. And 먹다 ends on this o sound, so we attach 먹어요. And then we're told above to use the topic particle. So 저는 먹어요 means I eat. 저는 먹어요 means I eat. Okay, B. We have 저 and 살다, to live. So 저는, I am the topic of this sentence. 저는 살 ends on a final vowel sound a, so we attach ayo. And this means I live. I live. Okay? And this C here, again we have 저, so we're going to say 저는, and 읽다 ends on a final E vowel sound. So we attach 어요. 저는 읽어요. This is pronounced 읽어요. That's the pronunciation. So I read. How do you know whether to use 는 or 은? So that's a good question, and it's actually quite simple to know. It just depends whether this noun here has a final consonant or not. So 저는 ends on a vowel sound, right? So you attach 는. But something like 사람 사람 means person. This ends on a consonant sound, right? So this uses n. But because this ends on a vowel sound, you add 는. That's the only difference. They mean the exact same thing. It just depends whether that noun ends on a vowel or a consonant. Okay, so now we have 저 and 괜찮다. 괜찮다 means to be fine or to be okay. So to make a sentence here, we're going to say 저는 괜찮. And this R, this final R vowel sound means we change this to 아요, which means I am fine. I'm fine, or I'm okay. You're welcome, Zoe, no problem. So this is actually where this question becomes important, right? Because now we have the noun 선생님. Does anyone know what 선생님 means in Korean? This word, 선생님. Fran, beautiful, thank you. It means teacher. It means teacher. And this ends on a consonant sound. So in this case now, 선생님은, right? Because it ends on a consonant sound. So we're no longer using 는, right? Because 저 ends on a vowel sound. This M sound on the bottom here means that we attach 은 now. 선생님은 알다. 알다 means to know, and it has a final R sound, so 아요. 선생님은 알아요. This sentence means my teacher knows something. So my teacher is the topic of the sentence. You're talking about your teacher, saying that they know something. My teacher knows. We don't know what they know, but they know something. 선생님은 알아요. Okay. Now we have a person's name. Rachel. Rachel is the name Rachel, kind of written in Korean. So, Rachel. This ends on, ends on a consonant sound. Oh my gosh, I'm just whacking my phone here. Rachel은, right? Because it ends on a consonant sound. Rachel은 만들다. 만들다 means to make. Rachel은 만들. So this final vowel sound is an sound. So it becomes 어요. Rachel은 만들어요. Rachel makes. Rachel makes something. We don't know what she's making, but she's making something. Okay, G. We're back to 저. Ends on a vowel sound, so 저는. 저는 받. 받 means to receive. Ends on R, final vowel sound R, so 아요. I receive. Is it I-E or E-I? I never remember. Anyway. Next one. 아이스크림. 아이스크림. This is how you write the word ice cream in Korean. One of the hardest words I think a lot of people find when learning Korean is these Konglish words, when they're writing an English word, but with Korean pronunciation. But this is ice cream. 아이스크림. This ends on a consonant sound, so we attach 은. And 맛있다. 맛있다 means to be delicious or tasty. And it ends on an E final vowel sound, so we attach 어요. Ice cream. Ice cream is delicious. Ice cream is delicious. Tomorrow is your topic exam. Oh, good luck. Wishing you all the best. Okay. And then last one, 친구. Does anyone know what this word 친구 means in Korean? Friend, yes, thank you. 친구 means friend. And 멀다 means to be far. So, 친구, this ends on a vowel sound, so we attach 는. 친구는 멀. This ends on an o sound, so we add 요. My friend is far away. My friend is far away. 친구는 멀어요. 친구는 멀어요. My friend is far away. Okay, so we made some simple sentences using the present tense. Using the present tense specifically for verbs that end on a consonant sound. So notice that all of these verbs we've learned before now end on a consonant sound, which is kind of the easiest conjugation to make. Things get a little bit more tricky when you have verbs that end on vowel sounds. And the reason for that is you get these vowel combinations happening. But we'll look at it in more detail here. All right, so multiple choice. A, select the verb that has no final consonant. So that means that has no 받침. Is it 1, 먹다, 2, 재미있다, or 3, 마시다? Which verb has no final consonant? Keela, Zane, yes, it is 3, 마시다. This has a final consonant, this G sound, and this has a final consonant, this double S sound, but this has no final consonant. It's just she is the last vowel sound, or the last syllable. Okay. B, select the correct conjugation of the verb 가다 into present tense. Okay, is it 1, 가요, or 2, 가요? Now, in the book, we learnt that when you have the verb 가다, any of these verbs that just end in this final R sound with no consonant, you just place 요 at the end. It's very simple. Just becomes 가요. Perhaps once upon a time, people might have said 가요, but nowadays it's just 가요. That's the correct conjugation. Okay, C. Select the correct conjugation of the verb 보다 into the present tense. So this verb 보다, 가다 by the way means to go, and 보다 means to see something. Okay, so is it 1, 보요, 2, 보어요, or 3, 봐요? Yes, I see a lot of people getting the right answer. Good job. It is 3, 봐요. So we know from the previous chapter, right, that when you have a final vowel sound that is o or a, then you attach a, yo. So this verb 보다 has this final o sound, so we attach ayo. The thing that happens though is it combines together. These two vowel sounds, o and a, combine together to make wa. That's what happens. So when I talked about how these vowel combinations happen, this is one of them. So when you have o meeting a, they marry together and make wa, like this. Okay. D. Select the correct conjugation of the verb 마시다 into the present tense. Does anyone know what this verb 마시다 means? 마시다. It's a pretty common verb. It's a good one to know. Calvin, Zane, yes, it means to drink something. Okay. And it ends in this E vowel, right? So how do we conjugate it? Is it 1, 마셔요, 2, 마시어요, or 3, 마시요? It is 1, yes. 마셔요. This is another verb combination that when you have E meeting O, remember that when you have a vowel sound ending in E, you attach 어요, right? And these two things combine together to make your, this your sound. And that's another sort of vowel combination rule that's good to know. So, 마시다 becomes 마셔요. E. Select the correct conjugation of the verb 배우다 into the present tense. What about this verb? Anyone know what 배우다 means? 배우다. It's also a good, very useful verb to know. Mr. Major, yes. It means to learn. To learn is 배우다. And so how do you conjugate that into the present tense? Is it 1, 배우어요, 2, 배워요, or 3, 배워요? Of course, the correct answer is indeed 3, 배워요. This is another one of these vowel combinations that when you have u meeting a, remember this, when you have this u sound, it's not a or o, so you attach 어요. So u plus o equals 워. It's another very useful grammar vowel combination to remember. Okay, and lastly, the conjugation of the verb 서다 to the present tense. 서다 is not a very common verb necessarily. I don't know if people will know what this verb means. It means to stand. To stand is 서다. And 서다, kind of like 가다, is very simple when it just ends in this o sound. You just add 요 on the end. So it just becomes 서요. 서요 is to stand somewhere. I'm standing. Okay, so these are the basic rules when it comes to conjugating verbs that end on vowel sounds. But let's look at some more examples. So the first one we're going to look at is verb stems ending in a. Now these are the easiest ones. One of the easiest ones, certainly, because it's very simple. How do we conjugate 가다 into the present tense? We saw it right here, right? It just becomes 가요. So we'll just put that. 가요 means I go. 가요 means I go. All right. 2. 타다. 타다 means to ride. So how would we conjugate 타다 into the present tense? Is this book the one on your site? Yes. This is the level 1 workbook. We have 2 available, so this is the first one. Yeah, it's very simple. It just becomes 타요. That means I ride. I ride. Number 3, or C. 사다 means to buy. 사다. So how does this be conjugated into the present tense? 사다 plus present tense is 사요. 사요. I buy. And lastly, 자다. 자다 means to sleep. To sleep. So how is 자다 conjugated into the present tense? 자요. I sleep. All right, so pretty simple, right? That one's easy. Now let's look at verb stems ending in o, in this o sound. First we have a very common one, 오다. 오다 means to come somewhere. So how does this conjugate into the present tense? We have this o sound, right? So we know we have to add 아요. We need to add 아요 to it, but it's going to combine with this o to make a new vowel combination. Yes, good job. It becomes 와요. This is like the example we had for watch, right? For this watch one, where 보다 becomes 봐요. It's the same thing. 오다 becomes 와요. What about B? I just gave it away, but for practice sake, how does 보다 to watch become translated into, or become conjugated into the present tense? 보다 becomes 봐요. Yeah, we saw that before. 봐요 means I watch. What about this one? 쏘다 means to shoot, like a bow or a gun, something like that. 쏘다. 쏴요, yeah. 쏴요. I shoot. And lastly, 나오다. 나오다 means to come out of somewhere. 나오다. 나와요. Yes. 나와요. I come out. Okay. So we've looked at verb stems ending in or. Now let's look at verb stems ending in u. The first one is 배우다. 배우다. Why is it not 나오요? Because this or, right, when it has this final or sound. And we know that when we have a verb ending in or, we have to attach yo. But the thing is, this combines together. They have a little, they have a relationship, they get together and they join together to make yo. Didn't mean to make that weird, but and you couldn't see what I was writing anyway. So or plus ayo, they get together and they make this wa form. Okay, so 배우다. 배우다 means to learn. And remember, when we have a verb ending in u, we attach yo. But it's going to combine together. It's going to merge together with this u to make wa. So 배우다 becomes 배워요. 배워요 is I learn. Next, 주다. 주다 means to give. So, 주다, how does this get conjugated into the present tense? Naomi, yes. It becomes 줘요. I give. Next one we have 주다. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. So we had 주다 before, now we have 추다. 추다 means to dance, and it becomes 춰요. 춰요 means I dance. 춰요. And lastly we have 꾸다. 꾸다 means to dream. And yes, Naomi, John, Hannah, it becomes 꿔요. 꿔요. I dream. 꿔요. Okay, so lastly, let's look at verbs ending in this E sound. So when you have a verb ending in E, you attach yo, and it makes a ending yo. That's the rule that we follow. So A, 마시다. What does this become when we conjugate it into the present tense? Yes, it becomes 마셔요. I drink. Okay? What about this one? It's a longer word, right? But the same rule still applies. It's still the same rule. 가르치다. 가르치다 means to teach. So, it becomes 가르쳐요. I teach. C. 기다리다. 기다리다 means to wait for something. So, when it's conjugated into the present tense, Georgie, yes, beautiful, becomes 기다려요. 기다려요. I wait. And last but not least, we have 어울리다. This is one of my most favorite / least favorite words to say in Korean. It's a tongue twister, I swear. But 어울리다 means to suit or match or go together, like fit well together. So when it's conjugated into the present tense, it becomes 어울려요. 어울려요. I suit match. Or I can even be mean to sort of say I look good. If something like looks good on you, you look good in something, you can use this verb to be like, oh, like it really suits you. Like you look good in that. Okay, so those are the 4 kind of main grammar combinations that happen when you are conjugating into the present tense with verbs ending on vowel sounds. So let's try making some sentences. Let's make some sentences. And we're going to form sentences using the verb and noun provided. The first problem has been done as an example. Conjugate the verb from its dictionary form into the present tense. All these verbs are defined on the previous page. We'll go through it again here as well. 잘 어울려요. Yes, it suits you. It looks good on you. And then remember to use the topic particle and the object particle where appropriate. So we studied the topic particles and object particles earlier in this book. So if you need a refresh on what topic particles are and what object particles are, I recommend you go back to the earlier chapters. But essentially, the topic here defines what is the topic of your sentence, and the object particle defines what the object is. And the object is the thing the action is being done to. We'll see some examples here. But we've given these pieces here, 저, which means me, 자전거. Anyone know what 자전거 means in Korean? 자전거. Hint, there is a picture of it, if anyone needs a hint. Yes, it means bicycle. 자전거 is a bicycle. And 타다 means to ride. So, 저는 자전거를 타요. I bicycle ride. Remember, in Korean, the verb always goes at the end of the sentence. So, I ride a bicycle. I ride a bicycle. Let's do this next example. Yeah, if you're learning Korean and you're not English as a first language, I think it's especially hard because I think all of the resources are really in English. So props to anyone who's learning Korean and listening to me teach in English when English is not your first language. I think that's, definitely extra hard. So good work to you. Okay, so we have this first word, Tom. It's a name, Tom. Then we have 샐러드. 샐러드, does anyone know what this word means? 샐러드. It means salad, yes. And lastly, we have 사다. 사다 means to buy something. So we're going to start with Tom because the sentence order always goes subject, object, verb. So subject comes first, which is Tom. Tom ends on a consonant sound, so we add 은 for the topic particle. 톰은 샐러드를 사. How does 사다 get conjugated into the present tense? 사다. What does it become in the present tense? We practiced this on the previous page, but just as another practice exercise, it becomes 사요. Yeah, beautiful. So this means Tom buys a salad. Tom buys a salad. Okay. Next, we have Mary, television, and 보다. So, Mary is a name, Mary. Television is, I think, fairly obviously television. What is 보다? Do you remember what 보다 means in Korean? This verb. 보다. Georgie, yes, to watch. 보다 means to watch. So, how do we make this sentence? We're going to start with Mary, right? Because she is the subject. We're going to add 는 because Mary ends on a vowel sound. Mary는 television. Television. Now what particle do we need to add here to complete this sentence? We know we're going to use the verb poda, to watch. So which particle do we need to use? Your lovely sunshine. Yes, we need to add We know it's the object particle, right? Because poda is an action verb. But television ends on a consonant sound, so we need to add And 봐요 is the conjugation of poda into the present tense. So 메리는 텔레비전을 봐요. Mary watches television. Mary watches television. Okay. D. 크리스 커피 마시다. 크리스 커피 and 마시다. So 크리스 is a name, Chris, right? 커피. Anyone know what 커피 is in Korean? It is, of course, coffee. Coffee, yes. And 마시다 means to drink. Okay, so how do we put all this together? First, we start with our subject, which is, 크리스. What particle do we need here? Is this tense similar to present simple in use? Yes, it is. 크리스, which particle do we need? 는, yes. 는, because 크리스 ends on a vowel sound. Now, what about after 커피? After 커피, which particle do we need? 를, yes. Thank you, L to the 7th power. 커피를. Now we know it's 를 because 마시다 is an action verb. It's an action that you do. It's being done to the coffee, so we need the object particle. And 커피 ends on a vowel sound, so we add 를. Why not add 가 instead of 는? You certainly can, although the instructions tell you to just use the topic particle. But any of these sentences could also use the subject particle. You could say 크리스가 커피를 as well. It's just depends on context, ultimately, which one you use. But for these examples, we tell you to use the topic particle. Okay, and then the last piece of this puzzle is how to conjugate 마시다 into the present tense. I am Chiara. Yes, beautiful, it is. Of course, 마셔요. We saw this vowel combination before. When you have a vowel ending on E sound and there's no consonant, it combines together to make this yo sound. So 마셔요. 마셔요. So this means Chris drinks coffee. Chris drinks coffee. Okay. 2 more examples and then we're finished for this chapter and for this live stream. Okay, Eve. Now we have 저, 한국어, and 배우다. So what is 저? 저 means me or I. Naomi, yes, good job. We'll go slower for people watching. 한국어. What does 한국어 mean in Korean? It's also a very useful word to learn. I recommend learning this word if you're learning Korean. Korean, yes. All right. And what about 배우다? 배우다 is a verb meaning what? What does 배우다 mean? To learn. Yes, thank you, Sig. So this is a useful sentence to know, right? I think all of us can use this sentence in real life. We're going to start with our subject, which is me. Now, which particle are we going to use to add to this word 저? We are going to add 는. Yes, because it ends on a vowel sound. So 저는 한국어. Now, which particle do we need? 한국어를. 전 하나. Yes, because it ends on a vowel sound, we attach 를. This makes it the object of the sentence, which means it's the thing that is being learned, right? And the conjugation of 배우다 is 배우 plus 어요. 배워요. 저는 한국어를 배워요. I learn Korean. Alright. I learn Korean. 저는 한국어를 배워요. Okay, final example. We have the following pieces. We have 선생님, 영어, and 가르치다. So, 선생님. 선생님 means, if anyone remembers, we had it on the previous page as well. 선생님. Yes, 수완루, it means teacher. Thank you. Teacher. Now we have 영어. 영어. That's also a very useful word to learn if you are using this book. Anyone know what 영어 is? Yes, it's English. It's the word for the English language specifically. And 가르치다, the meaning of 가르치다 is to teach. La la la, thank you. To teach. To teach. So, how do we put all this together into a sentence? Of course, as always, we're going to start with our subject, which is 선생님. 선생님. And now the particle that we add, of course, is going to be 은, because it ends on a consonant sound. 선생님은. Good job, thank you. Now, 영어. What do we put after 영어? 영어 ends on a vowel sound, so we add 를. Good job, thank you. And last but not least, the conjugation of 가르치다 into the present tense. We have 가르치. So when 치 is combined with 어, it becomes 요. And then 요. So 가르쳐요. 선생님은 영어를 가르쳐요. The teacher teaches English. So if I change this to 선생님은 한국어를 가르쳐요, it would mean the teacher teaches Korean. Same thing with this. You could switch this sentence here. You could say 저는 영어를 배워요. I learn English. Any of these nouns you can switch out to create your own sentences, whatever they may be. Just remember that if it ends on a vowel sound, you add 를 and you add 는. And if it ends on a consonant sound, you attach 은 and you attach ơ. Okay, so that brings us to the last page of this chapter, which was making sentences with verbs ending in the vowel sounds into the present tense. So we looked at vowel sounds, present tense conjugations, and we looked at consonant sound, vowel tense verb conjugations. The next chapter, which I will do next Friday, will be hada verbs. We will look at how to conjugate and use hada verbs in sentences. But for today, we covered all the content. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. This is the book, by the way, the Level 1 workbook. It is available. If you'd like to buy it, feel free. It's available on our website and on Amazon. You can also get it here on TikTok Shop if you would like to check it out yourself. Again, it is associated with a textbook, so I recommend you get both. You don't have to. You don't have to get both if you have other sources that you like for grammar, but they're designed to work together. They follow the same structure. And then if this is too easy for you, if this chapter is too easy, there is a level 2 available, which is a little bit more challenging. And then coming out next month, will be the level 3 workbook, which we are currently writing and editing. Actually, it's been written. We're currently proofreading and editing this level 3 book. That'll be next month. But for now, there's level 2 and level 1. The level 1 is what I used in this live stream, and I hope you enjoyed it. 감사합니다. 네, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Hope you had a good time and learned something. And if you would like to learn more, follow us on TikTok or come back next week, same time. I'll do a live stream at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so 1 hour before now. So 1 hour before now, whatever time zone you're in. For us, that's 5 p.m. Eastern time. 만나서 반가워요. 네, thank you. Yes, thank you so much. I'm glad you had a good time and enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Friday, a wonderful weekend, a good week next week, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you, everybody.